After 40 years together, I started to wonder, was love really worth it anymore? Not because we stopped caring, not because we stopped laughing, but because every day felt like the one before it. The same coffee in the same mugs, the same evening walks around the block, the same gentle arguments about whose turn it was to wash the dishes. And yet, when I looked at Eleanor sitting across from me, her hair silvering, her eyes still warm, I knew leaving wasn't an option. But staying meant finding a way to love when love felt ordinary. I remember one morning sipping my coffee on our creaky kitchen chairs, glancing at her humming while tending to her small garden inside the sunlit kitchen window, and thinking, how did we get here? How did 50 years of love turn into routine? And yet, even in the monotony, there was a quiet comfort, a gentle reminder that love can endure, even when it seems boring. I'm Walter James, 93. And Eleanor Collins is my wife of over 50 years. We met as teenagers in a small Midwestern town, drawn together by laughter, curiosity, and that inexplicable spark that makes young love feel infinite. Eleanor has always been steady, her calm, patient nature balancing my stubbornness. I, on the other hand, have never been subtle about my opinions or my routines, but somehow she accepted it all. Our early years were fiery with passion, yet full of compromises and small sacrifices. We moved into a modest home, decorated it together, and slowly filled it with memories. Our first argument, our first shared meal, the first time we danced in the living room to a scratchy radio. Over decades, those sparks dimmed, not gone, just softened, replaced by routines and predictability. But Eleanor's presence, her quiet humor, and her unshakable patience were the anchors that kept me tethered to what mattered most. Routine isn't dramatic. It doesn't announce itself. It sneaks in with daily schedules, repeated dinners, and predictable evenings. After 40 years, I found myself noticing the little things. Eleanor folding laundry in the exact same way every Tuesday. Her telling the same story about our honeymoon at least once a month. My stubborn insistence that the garden should follow my meticulous plan. Some days, I felt trapped in a life that was too predictable. I missed the thrill of new experiences, the adrenaline of the unknown. I would catch myself staring out the window, wondering if other couples had this sense of mundane monotony. And then I'd glance at Eleanor, humming softly, and realize that her presence, the routine itself, had become a kind of quiet magic. It wasn't boring. It was comfortable. It was safe. It was home. But accepting that truth took me years. Even in love, silence can build walls. We stopped sharing small thoughts, stopped laughing as well, loudly, and let miscommunications fester. I would forget to compliment her. She would quietly sigh when I missed her cues, and sometimes we went hours without speaking anything meaningful. I felt a temptation to give up, to retreat into my own stubbornness and habits, thinking that perhaps the sparkle had faded forever. Yet in those silent moments I realized something. The heart of love isn't always in grand gestures or passion. It's in noticing the small things, the way Eleanor's fingers lingered on mine for just a second longer, the slight smile when I made her coffee just the way she liked it, the shared glances across the room that said, without words, we're still here. That silent understanding reminded me that even in distance, love persists if you're willing to see it. After years of routine, I learned to pay attention to the sparks that were always there, hiding in plain sight. We laughed about old memories, reminisced about trips no one else remembered, left little notes in the kitchen. Don't forget your favorite chocolate, just to make each other smile. We began to add tiny surprises into our days, dancing in the living room when a favorite song came on, taking a spontaneous drive to a town we loved, or simply sitting on the porch watching the sun set while holding hands. These small, often overlooked acts reminded us of why we stayed together, not for excitement alone, but for companionship, trust, and the comfort of someone who knew you fully and still chose you every day. It wasn't dramatic, this rekindling. It was subtle and slow. I started listening more, apologizing faster, and noticing the little things Eleanor did to brighten my day. I stopped taking our time together for granted. Consistency, empathy, and attention became my tools to rebuild intimacy. We learned to laugh at our quirks, to forgive old missteps, and to treat the mundane as sacred moments of togetherness. Love, I realized, doesn't always roar. It sometimes whispers in quiet gestures, in patience, in shared routines that become rituals of care. Surviving a boring marriage wasn't about reigniting fireworks. It was about seeing the extraordinary in the ordinary, the beauty in the everyday moments we almost overlooked. Now, at 93, I look back on decades of ordinary days and realize they were anything but boring. Surviving a marriage this long requires humility, the willingness to bend and forgive. It demands patience, the understanding that love is a daily effort, not a fleeting emotion. And it calls for consistency, the dedication to small acts of thoughtfulness, even when they seem trivial. The reward is immeasurable, a bond that has weathered storms, endured silences, and survived routine. The laughter is softer, the touch more deliberate, and the love deeper than anything I could have imagined in our youth. Eleanor has been my constant, my mirror, my guide, and I am grateful for every day, boring or not, because each one brought us closer, teaching lessons that only time can provide. I sometimes wonder, if I had given up when life felt ordinary, would we have missed the best part of our love? Perhaps the secret isn't to avoid boredom, it's to discover the quiet sparks hidden within it, to treasure the routines, and to see every day as a chance to choose each other again. And maybe, just maybe, that's the true magic of a life spent together.